Yeah, that's it. That's it.
What's up?
Ah,
I
Jim,
love that smile. I love the giggle, the laugh. That right there. I love that. How are you, Dr. Tiff?
I'm great. How are you?
Happy Wednesday. Coming in hot as usual. I don't know that we know any other way. It seems like that's what we do.
Yeah, if there was a live show, we'd be like sliding across the stage. That's
Did you ever watch Kramer or Seinfeld?
yeah,
You
actually,
are
yes.
Kramer.
Yeah, Kramer. Yes.
The
Yeah.
way he comes sliding in.
Yeah.
How are you, Dr. Tiff? Did you have a good week?
I did. Great week. Productive. That is always a great thing to have.
Folks, welcome to our live stream. This is obviously Dr. Tiffany Marie, and I am Jim Grasser. She's a full-fledged doctor. I'm a Yahoo that plays a doctor's sidekick on a live stream once a week, and
Ha,
I'll go with
ha,
that.
ha.
um, Welcome to our live stream, and this is fun. This is going to be fun. If you've been invited here, stick around. We're going to make this fun. It'll last about an hour. And actually, Dr. Tiff, you and I both have another meeting immediately following this one.
Yes.
So I actually want to cut this one about a minute shy, maybe 2 minutes shy, so that we can get over to the other meeting.
Yep.
Really cool stuff in the works, and we will share those as soon as we have the ability to share that. But folks, if you've just joining us for the first time, my name is Jim Grasser, and I used to be a type 2 diabetic. And I love saying that I used to be a type 2 diabetic because I have reversed type 2 diabetes. And as in reversed, remission, beat it, whatever you want to call it. I'm not particularly fond of the word cure, but I've beat type 2 diabetes. I used to have a 12.2% A1C. I now have a 4.8% A1C. And I attribute it absolutely to the Unicity Field Rate System, which we're going to go into great detail on today. So stick around for this live stream. If you've been invited to it, that means that whoever invited you to this thinks that the information in here could benefit you, could change your life. And we have week after week, this live stream gets seen by like 10,000 people, and that's just crazy to think about. It is changing lives, and maybe you're the next person. So stick around for it. If you are on the system and you're seeing a lot of people inviting people into here, if you are on the system and you're having amazing results, this is a perfect opportunity to share this with everybody. And I'm going to encourage everybody that's listening right now to share this with 5 people.
Yep.
You can type the little @ symbol on Facebook and then start typing the name. Their name will populate, and then hit enter. If you're on YouTube, hit that little arrow and share this out. But stick around for us. Dr. Tiffany, why don't you tell them who you are? Here, I'm
Yeah.
talking.
Let me do that. Well, I'm Dr. Tiffany Marie. I am a double board certified physician in family and lifestyle medicine. For 20 years, I was practicing in private practice, urgent care, and then the last few years were in telemedicine, seeing people sick across 48 states. And I decided that wasn't a life for me, so I had to figure out how I can help myself as well as everybody I knew. So I ended up getting board certified in lifestyle medicine at that time, learned more, got on social media, started talking about all the lifestyle changes we can do to take back control of our health. And I got connected with someone that we both know who introduced me to these natural products we're going to talk about that changed my life. I got off of my blood pressure medicine, stopped having migraines, stopped dealing with my seasonal depression like I was. And then I got to help my family. I got to help my brother in the ICU get off of his insulin, his Trulicity, his metformin, after I took him out the ICU though. And then my mom helped her with her MS symptoms and being able to wear her heels again. And it's those types of things that made this worthwhile. So when I start helping hundreds of other people and then thousands by extension, it became a no-brainer. Why not keep doing this forever? So here I am talking about this on a Wednesday night.
You just said something that I adore. Your mom wearing her heels.
Oh, yes.
That's
Oh,
cool.
yes. For all my ladies out there, they know. They know what that's like when you got to wear them ugly flat shoes. Okay, we call them ugly. We don't want to wear them. But when you have a choice, it's nice to be able to have that choice.
Yeah. To have that freedom. Okay, so if you're new to us, stick around. The way that this works is we've got real life testimonials, people that come in and actually shared their story. The person I'm bringing here tonight, I'm ecstatic about. And Dr. Tiff, I now know who yours is. I don't know his story,
Oh, it's
but
good.
I've seen him on my live streams in the comment section. So I know who he is. I just have never met him before. So I'm excited to hear his story. But what we have are two real life people. People have actually benefited from the system. They go in and tell their stories. Now, Dr. Tiffany goes through and really kind of explains, you know, the what the real underlying problem is. And then at the end, if there's any time left, I go through and spend a little bit of time talking about some science. There's not normally a whole lot of time left at the end of the live stream, but if there is any, I try and squeeze in a little bit of science, why these products work, where the proof is, and then how to use it and how to order it. If at the end of this live stream, or if at any point during this live stream you think, hey, I want to try this, I'm going to go ahead and order it, get with the person who invited you here. They will show you how to order it. It's that simple. Just get with the person who invited you here. Okay, Dr. Tiff, I think we have two amazing guests.
Yes.
Who should we put first up?
Well, maybe ladies first. Maybe ladies first.
Ladies first?
Maybe so.
You know, I think that's the first.
Uh-oh.
Well, we didn't freeze. I was a little bit frozen. There we go. Mallory, Miss Mallory Smith. How are you tonight?
I'm wonderful, Jim. How are you?
I'm living my best life.
Hello.
Well, Mallory, if you wouldn't mind, tell people here what your experience has been on the field grade system.
Wonderful. Today is actually my birthday, and
happy birthday.
Thank you. And I started the Feel Good system 5 weeks ago today. And I was listening. I started seeing it all over the place on TikTok. And I, kept saying and saying it and saying it. And then I was like, you know what? I need to start doing something for myself. And I decided to, give it a try. I ordered it. I actually used my HSA at work, and I decided I'm just going to do it. And that day that I ordered it, I quit drinking pop, and I have not had any pop since the day I ordered it. And since then, I've had so much more energy. A few weeks into the no pop, I did have migraines a little bit here and there, but I decided just not to, give in to it and go back to the pop. And since about probably the 3rd week of the no pop, my headaches decided to go away. So, my daughter's doing the system with me, as a single mom working full time. Overtime, my daughter plays multiple sports. It is the easiest thing that I've ever done. It really has been the easiest thing.
So where you started at health-wise, what made you decide that you wanted to do something? What was it about? Was it glucose? Was it cholesterol? What was it? What was it that triggered you to kind of think, okay, I want to do something here? What kind of pushed you over the edge, if you will?
I would have to just say my overall health. Back in the day before I had my daughter, I was 23, and I was in decent shape, and then I had a 10-pound baby. And since then, I never got back to my weight. And if I did, a few times I would lose like 20 pounds and then I would put it back on. And I've tried, Weight Watchers, and I've tried a lot of things in the years, and it was not easy. The last 4 years ago, I had gotten tested for diabetes. They never told me my results, just told me that I didn't have it. I had an MRI done because my hands would go numb every so often, and I was getting a lot of migraines. So they gave me an MRI to see if I had MS, and they told me I didn't have MS. And I was getting headaches a lot when it was COVID time, and we had to wear the mask all the time at work. But then once they released the mask, all the headaches and everything went away. And I just was always tired. The last few years, I've always just been so tired at the end of the day. Like, I mean, I really wasn't much of an energy drinker. It was mostly, I was addicted to sugar. I've always been an extremely picky eater. I've never really liked vegetables. Even since when I was 2, 3, vegetables make me gag. I know that's something I really need to work on. And I'm hoping that this system will make me start to maybe like vegetables. I've tried a lot of the powder vegetables over the years, and those taste terrible. Um, and they really do. They taste terrible. Um, I'm just trying to have better health for my daughter and I want to live a long life. And it is amazing. I never really realized how much our body, things that make us feel like crap, is something that can be fixed so easily. I never really knew much about insulin resistance until I started watching these lives about 4 months ago. I watched them for about 3 months before I jumped on, and I wish I would have started sooner, but I'm here now. So, yes.
I want to throw this little comment up here. Lucy, my prediction is that you will become a veggie lover.
Yeah, I don't know. Everyone's have tried to get me to like vegetables. The only vegetable I like is potatoes.
Lucy is the one that Mallory found on TikTok. That's her sponsor, and it's been a really cool thing watching you, Mallory. How are you feeling today? I know we've got better energy. Is there any movement on the scale? Is there any sort of?
Yes, I am down 10 pounds.
Awesome.
Love it.
Yes.
And the only thing you've done is gotten rid of the pop.
Yes, I got rid of the pop and not snacking as much. Like when I started the system, I was already kind of fasting. Not as much as I am now. I pretty much did a 14 to 16 hour fast to begin with. I wasn't much of a breakfast eater. So my first meal was at work at 9 at my first break. But I was the one at the little not vending machine, but at the wall with like all the drinks and the pops and the food. Like I would spend like 50 to 60 bucks a week on food at work. Since I've started at work, I have only bought, I think, 2 times, and it was an actual meal. It was not any of the snacks. It has not been any of the pops. Another thing I've noticed is I opened up the pantry the other day, and I realized that I had a bag of chips in there that I bought about 3 weeks ago, and they weren't even opened yet. There was the kind Brooke wanted, my daughter, was open, but the one I picked out myself was not even opened yet. And then it still has some in it. So when I'm having some, it's like 10 or 15. Like I'm able to stop. Like if I do have a snack, I'm able to stop when I say I want to stop, and not when the bag's over or I'm not going and reaching for another bag of chips or snacks.
I love this.
Which is huge for me.
I love this, and I want to point out something really quick. And you mentioned that you are a mother. You're a single mother. You're young.
Correct.
And I don't want to be. I think a lot of people, and where I'm going with this, you mentioned that your daughter's on this as well.
Yes.
And I just want to touch really quick. So we are pressed up against for time, but I do want to touch real quick the cost.
Mm-hmm.
It's not cheap, obviously, but a single mother has found a way to buy 2 kits.
Yeah.
Can you just touch on that really quick, Mallory?
Well, yes. When I first looked into it, when I was watching the lives before I started, at first I was like, I really want to do this, but it seems like a lot. But then I kind of started writing stuff down, and I'm like, okay, well, how much do I spend on pop? Which I never really bought it at home. It was more at work. And then I'm like, well, how much do I spend eating out? How much do I spend here? And I kind of broke everything down. And then I'm like, okay, it's $5 a day. And then if my daughter's on it, it's $10 a day. So I'm like, okay, if I buy one kit and then another kit 2 weeks later, I'm not, buying them at the same time.
And you also mentioned HSA, which is, I forgot about that. After I asked you the question, I forgot that you mentioned HSA, health savings account.
Right.
We take HSA and FSA. So,
Correct.
Mallory, I love your story. What I'd like to do is I want to transition over to Dr. Tiffany and have her kind of tell us what's wrong with us. Okay. But I'd like to be able to bring you back at the end of the live stream for any questions. Will that work?
Yes.
You're amazing.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mallory.
Do you have any questions for her, Dr. Tiff?
No, not at all.
All right. Dr. Tiff.
Yes.
What's it doing here? Here, you get that side. You get that side.
I don't even know.
You know what this guy's doing.
I don't know. I don't know at all. I think it's funny. You're like, so I'm gonna get Dr. Tiff to tell us what's wrong with us.
Good.
That's not what I'm going to say. But
Well, you know what? Hey,
to
the layman, that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what we get from you is you tell us what is going on. That's yeah. I mean, I hate to break it to you, Dr. Tiff, but that's we're all here to listen to you actually explain through a doctor's eyes what is going on with us.
Yeah. I think word choice is funny because I like for people to feel empowered. So yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So let's talk about the problem, how we got here, how we are dealing with these issues. Well, there's a study that came out in 2022, and it showed that only 7% of Americans actually have good metabolic health. What does that mean for the 93% that's left? That sounds problematic to me. And then, of course, as a way to try to combat this problem, big pharma and even the providers have been prescribing a medication to decrease that risk, being statins, and it only helps cardiovascular risk, heart disease. It only decreases that by 1%. When if you actually change your lifestyle, that's what this little yellow circle is here, it can actually decrease your risk for heart disease, metabolic health, 39%, not just one. And so if you are somebody who pays attention and says, well, nobody's told me about this, my doctors don't tell me about any natural way to do anything. Well, let's talk about the fact that the number one killer is still the number one killer in the US, meaning most of us die of this. So even after the whole low fat food crave, the whole let's fight heart disease stuff, we're still here. So clearly whatever we're teaching is not doing it. So it's important for us to get to the root. What is at the root of metabolic health conditions? Insulin resistance. And I'm going to detail about what that is. But if you see that in the circle here, all these conditions around it, heart disease, cancers, PCOS, dementia, fatty liver, and there's even more that's not on here, low testosterone, high blood pressure, all these things. Insulin resistance is either directly or indirectly related, meaning if we actually tackle this, the rest of these things, we're seeing them improve. And so when we're looking at insulin is a hormone that is pushing to get glucose into the cells, the liver, the muscle, the fat cells, and even in the brain. We can have insulin resistance of the brain as well. So when you eat carbohydrates that break down into a good amount of glucose, or when you drink them, like Mallory said, drinking her soda, that's going to give you a glucose spike. And then with insulin, especially if you're dealing with insulin resistance, your insulin is going to be high and it's going to drop that glucose spike so quickly. And now you're having a crash. Now you're feeling the itis. Now you're feeling the hangry. That's where that's coming from. And that's part of these symptoms. The constantly hungry, the feeling like it's difficult to lose weight when you cut back on the calories and increase the exercise, cravings for sugar and salty, the skin tags, the dark patches on your neck. That's actually insulin overgrowing. Yeah, that's not dirt, those skin patches. It's not. Those skin tags, that's not just age. Having that fat sit around your midsection. Yeah, that's coming from insulin being high into where it's storing as fat. Blood pressure, cholesterol. And so how did we get here? Most of us in the healthcare field, we remember telling people, and if I could see you guys put your hands up, I'd ask how many of you were told to eat 6 to 11 servings of carbohydrates daily. And how often are carbohydrates actually ingested? Well, there's a global nutrient database that shows that about 3/4 of what we eat globally are carbohydrates. So we eat a lot of them and we eat them frequently. So use this example. So you wake up in the morning, your insulin's probably going to be the lowest then because you've been sleeping all night. So if you are somebody without a medical condition, you haven't been eating while you're sleeping. You've been sleeping and thus fasting because you're not eating, right? So as soon as you have your breakfast, and if it's carbohydrate heavy, which most of our breakfasts are, oatmeal, cereal, toast, that's going to kick up on the glucose. So you can get a glucose spike. But you're also going to get an insulin spike because when you release that glucose, when you take in that glucose, your pancreas now has to release insulin to bring it into the cells. And then a couple hours later, you're hungry again because of that drop that I showed you in that slide earlier. Then your body releases more insulin. Then lunch comes and you're doing something that's carbohydrate rich, because those are easy things to grab. A sandwich, pizza, maybe a burger, maybe some fries, and your body has to release more insulin. Then the afternoon comes and you reach for a snack because now you're in a slump again. Then dinner, then dessert, and your insulin never had a chance to come all the way down. And so you'll be going through this cycle. You're feeling this type of way. You're tired, you're fatigued, but you go see your doctor and you're like, I know he's going to say I'm a diabetic. In fact, sometimes your doctor's like, I know you're a diabetic. And you're thinking about your family. They've had amputations. They've had problems with their kidneys. They're on insulin. They're on metformin. And you kind of think, yeah, maybe they're right. Maybe I am diabetic. But they check your labs and your A1C is normal. It's normal. You're not in the pre-diabetes range or the diabetes range. Well, this is where a lot of people land because insulin resistance is a spectrum. Pre-diabetes, diabetes, that's end result insulin resistance. In the beginning, all you're dealing with are all these symptoms. You're even dealing with blood pressure, cholesterol, the skin tags, the brain fog. That's what you're dealing with in the beginning. But actually, in actuality, you are in this normal place. And so you feel frustrated with your A1C and you feel like your doctor doesn't know what's going on and something's wrong with you, but nobody's there to help. And so when insulin is high in your bloodstream, way before you end up with type 2 diabetes, what it does is it can actually cause your kidneys to hold on to sodium. And so when your kidneys are holding on to sodium, water follows sodium. That's chemistry. That's going to increase blood volume. Okay. It also makes the inside of the blood vessels fluffy. That'd be a nice way to say that. So that's not a smooth surface so that fluid can move quickly. Then it also impairs nitric oxide function. So instead of dilating the blood vessel, you get a rigid blood vessel. So that's going to increase blood pressure. And then when it's affecting your liver, it causes an increase in triglycerides and decreases in HDL. HDL is the protective cholesterol molecule. We want that to be higher, but this decreases it. That's problematic. Then it increases the LDL, the small dense particles. Those are the ones that actually get into the blood vessel walls and start causing that inside of that blood vessel to get smaller and smaller and smaller. And once you get that blocked off, you end up with things like heart attacks and strokes. Then when it affects things like your ovaries, when you're a woman, it can promote weight gain. It can cause trouble with hair growth, hair loss, hair in places where it's not supposed to be, like your face and your chest when you're a woman. But it can also disrupt your menstrual cycles and not allow you to have children. And so we have women who've been told they weren't able to have children. And when they were able to be on these products, after 4 months, 5 months, or sometimes even less, they were able to get pregnant, which is huge if this is something you are battling. Then when insulin resistance comes along, it brings its ugly friend, chronic inflammation. And that chronic inflammation does havoc on our gut, along with the foods that we eat. Now, we can't take total responsibility from the things we put in our body, some from misinformation, I will say that. But gut dysbiosis is a condition that happens when you have organisms growing in your gut that aren't supposed to be there. So your gut is supposed to have trillions of bacteria in it. Okay, but when you have things growing that aren't supposed to be there, like yeast or bad bacteria, it throws stuff off. Sometimes that bad bacteria starts to eat up the lining. The inflammation starts to eat up the lining of your gut. Well, we know what goes through our gut, our food, and that bacteria removes toxins, removes the nutrients we need, removes viruses and pathogens, and you end up with stool that you release. Well, if you have a leaky gut, some of that stuff, good and bad, is coming out into the abdominal cavity and floating around your body. And so with the chronic inflammation, it impairs T cell function, and T cells function's jobs are really trying to attack. Really, they're supposed to tell the body what not to attack. Okay. So if you have a confused immune system and you got stuff floating around, well, your poor body doesn't know what to do. And so it not only attacks the the things it's supposed to attack, but it attacks you. And that's how you get things like autoimmune conditions. Autoimmune conditions like MS, that's where your brain is being attacked, or your colon, that's ulcerative colitis, that's Crohn's disease, Hashimoto's, that's when your thyroid's being attacked. Those are just some simple examples. So how can this be reversed? Like I said, there is some responsibility on what we bring in the body, but some of this is misinformation, thinking this stuff is safe. Well, I'm here to tell you this isn't even real food. I call this big fooda. Okay, this is not real food, people. It's processed, it's ultra processed, and the things that we need in it have been taken out. So we're talking about things that have been packaged, boxed, and barcoded. Pretty much everything that's sitting in the middle of the grocery store, yeah, not for us. They're addictive, and sugar is it is the food, period, that can mount a dopamine response to feel like an addiction. You don't feel this way with steaks or or even with heavy fats. You don't feel this way eating a stick of butter. No, but sugar will do this. It'll kick up dopamine so high that you feel as if you are addicted to it. And you feel as if you can't say no and that it's calling your name. Well, the reason why this happens is because the carbs have been stripped of the fiber that was supposed to be there to protect us, to protect this quick or high spike of the glucose in our bloodstream. But not only that, the fiber comes with all these different colors, the phytonutrients, the polyphenols. That's what gives us its vibrant colors. Those things actually protect the body from inflammation and also help improve insulin resistance. And then when you incorporate fasting, yes, fasting, just a period when you literally are just not eating, you start to get a cellular detox when you just stop eating. We have a doctor that got a Nobel Prize for this, for really discovering this back in 2016. And what he found was when you stop eating after 16 hours, this starts a slew of things to where things start happening. At 24 hours, the gut replenishes itself. At 36 hours, you get more fat burning. At 48 hours, the dopamine receptors reset. And then 72 hours, you get immune system reset. Your nerves start to improve. Things that we said are not supposed to happen, they start to happen when you tap into this power. And then GLP-1. So when I say this, lots of people immediately think of something that's all on the news. Everybody and their mom is taking it. But actually, we have this hormone in our body. It's in our small intestines, gets released from our small intestines anyway. And it can cause delay in gastric emptying, but also helping us not feel as hungry. It tells the hypothalamus, you're not that hungry, which is helpful if you're overeating. But it also turns off the carb noise, which, as we saw in another slide, so many people need that help. They're eating too many carbohydrates and they're eating too frequently. Well, Big Pharma figured out a way to try to capitalize on this and made a receptor agonist of GLP-1s. So these bind to a receptor to pretend like they're your GLP-1 and try to boost that function. And then, of course, whenever you do something like that, you're going to have a slew of side effects. And when you lose weight with those types of injections, 40% of what you lose is your lean mass, meaning your muscle and your bone loss. Then risks like thyroid cancer, pancreatitis, gastroparesis, which is paralysis of the stomach, kind of don't need that, right? And then gut perforation. That's a surgical emergency. We can't have big holes in our guts. We already have problems with leaky gut, right? And then after 2 years of using the injectables, one of the great things about what GLP-1 does is turning off the food noise and the carb cravings. Well, this starts to wane to where you actually have to increase the dosage or add another medication. So having something that's natural, yeah, that would be something I would say would be a better idea. And so, of course, that's why I'm here, right? So one of the products we like to use, actually both of them together, one is the yerba mate. It actually increases GLP-1 production, but when that ferulic acid gets into your gut and gets broken down, that's how the balance adds to this, because it allows your gut to be functioning even better. It stops the formation of that enzyme that breaks down GLP-1. So it allows that GLP-1 to be higher in your body, and 60 to 70% when you're fasting. And then the balance, that's when we're trying to feed our microbiome with trillions of bacteria in it. And so 7 strands of fiber to get back those things we're missing when we're eating all that big food a mess. And so, of course, why am I speaking up? Thousands of lives change. We've had 1 million people start using these products, which says a lot. And I get to see texts like this from people, pictures. And I've come to believe that insulin resistance is not genetic. It's 100% lifestyle. And I have so many people. Not so many people. I've heard somebody say that I thought it was in my dinner, but it was no. 30 thought it was in my DNA, but it was really in my dinner. And it's so true. So what's stopping you from taking back control of your health right now? I
Easy
know
for you.
there's, huh?
It's easy for you to say.
Well, nothing's stopping me. I've decided to keep my mouth wide open, and I hope you share this with others and find value in this on ways you can help yourself and anybody you care about. That's me. I'm on social media, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and here every Wednesday until I'm not.
You didn't talk about your Superwoman outfit.
Well, yeah, I feel like a superhero.
There.
Mhm.
I got used to it. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I kind of want to just take a quick minute to say thank you for what you do.
Oh, I appreciate you, Jim. I
You're
appreciate
amazing.
that.
You're absolutely amazing. And I think everybody in the audience loves you to death. And I know that every week, I think everybody knows this, but I don't pay Dr. Tiff. We don't pay Dr. Tiff. She just gets on this thing and she does this every single week. And I appreciate you more than you'll ever know.
Same here.
Okay. Let's talk about Rex.
Oh my gosh. Do we need to talk about this story? I love this. I mean, I didn't even get to touch on some of the stuff he's going to tell in his story. One, because I just want to leave it to him.
Yeah.
But he's got a lot going on. So I'm going to let him have the floor so we can just hear it.
Lot going on. Absolutely. But from the bad to the good.
Yes.
So diabetic, early 30s, walked in, couldn't walk on my feet, had already started my neuropathy. Matter of fact, I got out of bed and couldn't make it down the stairs. And it was because the pain was so bad in my feet. Got me to the car, got me in the emergency room. Got in the emergency room, and I'm shooting 400 or 500, on the glucose Richter scale, as you want to call it. And the doctor comes in and he says, "You're diabetic," and I'm gonna go, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure I am." I'd already been, between rest stops. You know how it is. You're driving, you stop one rest stop, you use the bathroom, the next rest stop, you're drinking a big gulp. Then you're going, and it just keeps going. You start to see that you're losing weight for no reason. I'm not even trying. I'm losing weight. So fast forward years of medication. I'm now 60, going to be 62 this year.
Awesome.
And they've tried different things on me, and of course I went through the metformin thing. I've gone through all that kind of stuff. And finally they just looked at me and said, the only way you're going to be helped is to put you on insulin. And I've been on insulin now probably for 15 years. Started out very low dosages, and then it just creeps up, right? It's like creeping up. Then the next thing you know, you're wearing things on your arm, right?
Yeah.
You're wearing things like this. I mean, I'm connected all over the place. So I'm doing that. I started an ulcer on the bottom of my right foot. Okay. And of course that starts scaring you. Spend a year with the doctor trying to help me out with that. Infections of the bone, literally removing bones from my foot, a bone at a time. Going through hyperbaric treatments, trying to get rid of the infection. Every morning before I go to work, I would go down in sea level and sit there hoping that would do it with the high oxygen flow, and it did nothing for me. So finally the doc came in and said, "Really, there's not a whole lot we can do. We're going to have to amputate." And at that point, I was really ready for it. I'd been in a crow's boot for 6 months, doing my job on a scooter, one of those foot scooters, which I got things done quicker, but, I was doing that. And so they took the first one. And then, like most diabetics, unfortunately, it tends to be that once you have one, the other one just wants to join in. So I get another ulcer on the other foot within a year's period of time. So both legs went 2015, 2016. Okay. Ended up with Charcot foot, ended up with all the bad stuff. And they were just like, you know what? They're both gone at that point. So we did that. And, people ask me all about that, how I do with that. And really my feeling is that really my life changed. The way I put on my pants is different than what everybody puts their pants on, but I was able to do anything and still can do anything that I was doing before. So been going with this whole deal of what I'm going to do about this sugar. My sugars are always up. I'm told I'm a really brittle diabetic, that we just can't control it. My spikes are all over the place. It doesn't matter what I do, you know. And you always get that thing in your life of, you know what can I do so I don't really care, right? So I'm like, you know what, if I'm going to eat, I'm going to eat what I want. You know, you start to get that feeling about that. You're like, you know what, if you guys can't do anything about it, you just keep pumping insulin into me. And that's what they were doing. You know, each month when I go back, or each 3 months, I go back to the doctor and be like, well, we're going to have to up you more. Yeah. These little pods hold quite a bit. I was going through these one a day. Okay. One of these pods a day. All right. And then finally, I'm just going through TikTok, and we all know Deb Saunders. And I'm just sitting there listening, because I had tried other things, and there's so many things out there. Okay. And nothing was helping. So Deb made a lot of sense. It's the first time somebody actually talked about the core issue. Okay. And I started thinking, you know what? I've got to be insulin resistant. I've got to be. And I'm thinking my cells don't have any more room for any insulin in them at this point because of how much they're pumping into me. So I decided to start the protocol. I said, you know what? What have I got to lose at this point, right? I mean, I might as well be trying something else, and everything made sense. So I got on the protocol. Within a week and a half, my A1C dropped from 8.5 to 6.9 to begin with, just a big drop immediately. I was like, wow, this is really good. I started to see other changes. I've got neuropathy really bad. I started to see the pain in my neuropathy go down. Now, you know, and you're always told by doctors, you'll never get rid of that. You know, we can't do anything about neuropathy. We can't fix that. You know, you're going to have that pain. You're going to be on pain medication the rest of your life. I've seen the reduction in the pain already. Matter of fact, my last appointment, the pain doctor was to reduce some of my medication, so I don't have to take as much, which was great.
Yes.
Sleep apnea, sleep deprivation. I would go and sit down in the recliner during the day, and I'm out. Okay. I was literally losing hours of my life in that chair. Okay. Now I don't. I kind of laugh because I do work some from home, and I was telling my boss, and I'm like, you know what? I've got to find things to do now because I've got 2 or 3 hours of my life back, you know? So that started. Okay. First blood work down to 6.5 on my A1C. My cholesterol is dropped. I had high cholesterol, high triglycerides. All those are down. My good cholesterol has doubled. Okay. It is truly amazing. I'm sleeping at night. I can go to sleep, and I sleep 5 to 6 to 7 hours now, where I wasn't before. You know, I would go fall asleep maybe for an hour, wake back up, and wasn't getting any sleep. And then mornings were awful. So now that I've started the protocol, everything's reversing. It is amazing. You know, I went into my doctor with my regular endocrinology appointment, and she looks at stuff and she goes, she's just looked back at me and looked back at my number, back at me, looked at my numbers. And she goes, what are you doing? And I started explaining to her, and she goes, you have to tell me about this. Mm-hmm. Because this is amazing. She goes, I thought we would never get you under control. And now your numbers, I'm at 95 to 98% under what I should be all the time.
Wow.
And she just about fell out of her seat. She goes, I don't get it. And she had read about insulin resistance, so she knew a little bit. But immediately she looks at me and she goes, so tell me about it. I told her a little bit about it, told her about the tea. She goes, what's it taste like? And I had a packet in my pocket. So you know what I did? I gave her a packet. I said, you might as well try it. I said, actually, it's great. I said, I thought I would have trouble with the fasting. It took a little bit to get used to, but within a couple weeks, I'm doing a 22-hour fast. I'm doing even longer. You know, I'm amazed. And then just my eating habits, just looking at food, okay, and what I was eating, and just every day. And I was kind of like the last guest you have, hating vegetables. but I'm now learning. I have learned a lot more about what I need to eat, what I don't need to eat, you know? And a lot of that I learned from you guys because I listen to you people all the time. And there are so many things, especially Jim. He comes up with things that I'm like, I didn't even think about that. You know, I was eating things that just were not good for me. So my story is that I'm healing. My body's healing. I feel it every day. Things are so much better. I'm so excited about everything that's going on. And right now, this is only 65 days into the program. I
Wow.
haven't even hit 90 days yet. Okay. So I'm sitting there going, okay, if this is going to happen at 65, what's going to happen at 90 days, right?
Right.
And you just keep seeing everything change to the good side at this point. So that's kind of my story. But I can tell you, if I hadn't met Deb online, I call her my savior. She really is. She saved my life because I was ticking down in time. Okay. I was ticking down. I mean, at 62 with the numbers I had, trust me, I wasn't going to be around that longer. You know, I just have a new grandchild. Now I'm going to see that grandchild grow up and I feel so much better. So the protocol works.
You know,
it works.
Dr. Tiff's mentor, Dr. Ben Bickman, when you're talking about double amputee, and I did not know that about this story here. I mean, I didn't know any of your story.
Yeah.
Amputations, the number one cause of amputations in the United States is diabetes. Number one. And I listened to Dr. Ben Bickman, as most of us do, right? And I've got a video of him. He was on a podcast, and it's just burned into my brain. And he's talking about the clinician. They're taking a glucose-centric approach to treating type 2 diabetes. And specifically the podcast, he was talking about treating type 2 diabetes with insulin, right? The insulin dependent, and how, in fact, it was actually dangerous. And he was saying that that while, you know, you're in fact driving the glucose down, they're not even paying attention to how much insulin it's taking to do that. And that problem right that hyperinsulinemia, the type 2 who 3 times as like, this is his quotes, not me, his words, 3 times as likely to die of heart disease, 2 times as likely to die of cancer, and 2 times as likely to develop Alzheimer's disease. And throughout all of it, you're going to need more and more and more insulin because you're becoming ever more resistant to it. And you just mentioned you've gone up to a full pod.
Yeah.
Hey, a type 1 diabetic, that pod lasts a week.
Yeah.
Like, a type 1, somebody who doesn't make any insulin.
Yeah.
A week, half week, whatever it is, that pod should not be.
Yeah, they're actually expiring. They're actually now expiring, Jim. They're expiring. I've never had them expire. They're usually out and I'm changing. And I'm like, I looked at it the other day and I thought, oh, I can't be out of insulin. And I look at it and it says, your pod's going to expire in 2 hours. And I'm like, I've never had that. I've never had that. I didn't know what it meant for one to expire. And so that was the most, that's when I really knew something. Yeah, exactly. When I really knew things were going on at that point, that it is actually, I can throw it in the trash and it's still got insulin in it. You know, I mean, wow.
Man, I don't know if you've noticed the love that you are getting in the comment section. Dr. Tiff, I'm going to give you the mic here. What do you got?
I mean, Rhonda Flores says, you know, I'm in tears. The reality is people that have your story, double amputee. I used to see this in practice. Not only are we dealing with, you know, the neuropathy, the pain from missing that limb at times too, but we're dealing with depression. We're dealing with anxiety. We're dealing with all types of things because their life has been taken away from them. And to see you here taking back control, and so much so that you're talking about it and talking about it whenever you can, it is so empowering, and it's so it's exciting to see that we get to have a role in people's lives like this.
Absolutely.
I love that you shared all of that, and it was so needed, and so many people need to hear that there is life after these
Oh,
situations, and not just life, better quality of life.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So-
And I didn't even mention the weight yet.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
should have probably done that. 218 pounds when I saw her last, which was in July, right?
Mhm.
189 pounds now.
Oh, wow.
30
That's
pounds.
almost 40
Started the
pounds.
protocol.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
On top of that, people are like, did you really need to lose weight? And I said, yeah, I was a little chubby. But yeah, that came along with it. So it's just like, wow, it's just like you're stacking all this stuff up, right? You're just stacking up going. And I'm only spending basically $5 a day, right? I mean, it's really all I'm doing. Man, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable what this protocol does. It really is.
Look at Deb right there.
Yep.
I think the world of Deb.
Yes.
Yes.
I hope she heard all of that testimonial. So.
Oh, yes. She's one of
And then this one right here, I just want to touch on this. Kim Carr says, if I would have known about this when my dad was sick, he was a double amputee and lost his life to this disease.
Yes.
To know now, and I'm sorry to hear that, Kim. To know now, if we knew then what we know now.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. So, Rex, I hate to do this, but I'm going to shut your camera off really quick because I want to go through how to use the products.
Yeah, absolutely.
How to buy the products, and then I want to bring you back.
Sure.
We're going to try and cut this live stream off at like 6:59. I'm sorry, 8:59 Eastern time. So I'm going to kind of blaze through this. Okay.
Thanks, Rex.
Yes. No problem.
That was absolutely, Dr. Tiff. Wow.
I know, right?
Wow.
I know.
Okay, guys. So I'm gonna blaze through this really quick. Okay. There are two products to the field grade system. The first product is called Balance. Okay, it looks like this in a packet. These little single serve packets, they're easy. You can add these to a water bottle. Dr. Tiff, do you have your bottle? I never have.
I sure do. I always do.
Because I drink it out of here, guys. I drink it out of here. But they're going to send you a bottle like that. The other product is Unimate. And so let me build on these products real quick. Unimate is a yerba mate extract. Yerba mate is a South American tea. It's been pretty widely consumed for the last 500 to 1,000 years. Now, the indigenous people in the regions of South America that are now Argentina, Brazil, Paraguay, they would say that yerba mate gave them an amazing boost of energy. It made them feel full. And what we know now through science is that those little things inside of it that were giving them that, it's called chlorogenic acid. There's this little thing that occurs naturally in yerba mate called chlorogenic acid. And there are all sorts of health benefits to chlorogenic acid. Chlorogenic acid is shown to lower blood pressure. So if you have high blood pressure, it's been shown to cause statistically significant reductions in systolic and diastolic blood pressures. It's a novel insulin sensitizer that potentiates insulin action similar to the therapeutic action of metformin. And I guess I should show these really quick. Let me do that. I start rattling things off, and I guess I forget that, to me, I've seen them 150,000 times. This study right here, the effects of chlorogenic acid on blood pressure. In conclusion, the evidence from published randomized clinical trials suggests that chlorogenic acid intake causes statistically significant reductions in systolic and diastolic blood pressures. This right here, they actually compared it to metformin. They gave diabetic mice either chlorogenic acid or metformin. You'll notice the title alone. Chlorogenic acid improves glucose tolerance, lipids metabolism, inflammation, and microbiota composition in diabetic mice. The results showed that chlorogenic acid decreased body weight and improved glucose tolerance and insulin resistance, and these effects were similar to those of metformin. In this study, chlorogenic acid is a novel insulin sensitizer that potentiates insulin action similar to the therapeutic action of metformin.
Mm-hmm.
In this study, chlorogenic acid induces GLP-1 production. That's what Dr. Tiff was talking about.
That I'll be sharing at a meeting in March in Las Vegas is that this yerba mate supplement called Unimate also increases GLP-1, we found in this experiment we did, the GLP-1 levels went up by about 70% in a fasted state, which is pretty considerable.
So that is Dr. Ben Bickman talking about Unimate increasing GLP-1 by up to 70% during a fasted state. Now, this study right here was published by Dr. Ben Bickman in October of 2023. Yerba mate supplement exerts beneficial tissue-specific effects on mitochondrial efficiency and redox status in healthy adult mice. You'll notice that is Dr. Ben Bickman's name right there. And I like to scroll down to the materials and methods. And I think I just scrolled too far. I did. The mate was unicity. Now, what this study shows was that basically it makes you a more efficient fat burner. Unimate, scientifically proven, makes you a more efficient fat burner. Now, what we do is we drink 2 of those per day. You wake up first thing in the morning, you drink your Unimate. It has about 20 times the chlorogenic acid of a typical cup of yerba mate. So what they're really doing is they're taking that yerba mate tea and they're still hand harvesting it. They're still fire roasting it. But then they stop the traditional process and they extract the good things that we like chlorogenic acid. There's some other things, theobromine, mate saponins, antioxidants, all sorts of wonderful things that they take out, they concentrate, and then they purify it. They get rid of the things that we don't want, things like pesticides and heavy metals. Now, Unimate has about 20 times the chlorogenic acid of a typical cup of yerba mate. It has about 10 times the chlorogenic acid of a typical cup of coffee. And that's a big deal because in nature, the most abundant resource on earth for chlorogenic acid is a cup of coffee, is a green coffee bean. Green. So Unimate has about 10x that. So you can get your chlorogenic acid from store-bought yerba mate. Make sure it doesn't have the sugar. A lot of those have a lot of sugar in them. And be near a bathroom because you're going to have to drink 20 of them to equal one of these. So, second product, Balance. By the way, Dr. Tiff, I've got the gas pedal on the floor. Did I miss anything there that I need to touch on?
Nope. I think you're good.
Balance. Part number 2. Balance was developed by Rexall Pharmacy in the late 80s as a product called BioSlife. Now, in the late 80s, Rexall Pharmacy was one of the largest pharmacy chains in North America, 11,600 stores at their peak. They developed BioSlife. And what BioSlife is a patented blend of 7 different plant-based fibers and a multivitamin. And it's the and that matters, right? Mm-hmm. It's got this type of fiber and this type of fiber and this type of fiber and a multivitamin. It's the and that matters, right? Because there's a lot of different products out there. They don't have the and. Mm-hmm. So BioSlife, marketed in the United States as Balance. So this is from Sydney, Australia. This was the United Kingdom. This is North America. It's available in 60-some countries. This is it in South Korea. This is it in Saudi Arabia. It's everywhere, guys. Everybody else knows about this. Mm-hmm. They've been using it. So BioSlife has been studied at the Cleveland Clinic. Let me pull this up. This study right here. So fiber and multivitamin combination therapy, you'll notice this is a clinical trial and it was published in Metabolism Journal. That little DOI reference down below, if you click that, that will take you to this. This is the actual publication in Metabolism Journal. It's really only got the abstract. You can't read the whole thing. But if you wanted to hit download full issue, that would take you to here. Fiber and multivitamin combination therapy. Another way to get to here is to go to unicityscience.org. You can see this as well. This study right here was done at the preventative cardiology section of the Cleveland Clinic on BioSlife. And you'll see they specifically named BioSlife. And the LDL. You know, so many people are concerned about their LDL. That's the bad cholesterol, Doc. What they found was by the time of the interim visit, which was 4 weeks after randomization, the treatment group demonstrated significantly lower LDL-C than the placebo group, significantly lower. And that trend continued through the next 4 weeks to the end of the blinded phase. In fact, if you wanted to see the values, here's all the numbers. They're very transparent. You can go and do the research yourself. You can actually see what significant reductions means. Scroll down to the very bottom. Such a product, if taken regularly, could reduce cardiovascular risk on a population basis and potentially decrease the need and or dose for lipid-lowering prescription drugs. Now, balance has also been studied at the University of Sydney, Australia, which is the home of the glycemic index. And there they found out that it reduced blood glucose by 20 to 28%, blood insulin by 13 to 27%, and it lowered the glycemic index of all three test foods from high to medium, as well as the insulin index. It's also been studied at Stanford, UNLV. There's more than a dozen clinical validation studies. There's 5 patents between these two products. They're in the physician's desk reference. And as Mallory illustrated earlier, they accept HSA and FSA. They accept credit card. They also offer you a 90-day money-back guarantee. Give these products a try. What Unicity guarantees is that if you try their products, try them consistently for 90 days, use their app. They have an app. It's a Feel Great Fasting app. Download that app. Use that app. If you are consistent with these products, they guarantee results. Okay? They guarantee the glucose will fall. They guarantee the cholesterol. They guarantee the high blood pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Get with the person who brought you here. They'll tell you how to order it. Goodness, Dr. Tiff, I feel like I got it all in. Did I get it? Did I miss anything?
Yeah, you sure did. Got it all in.
Okay. We're going to be quick because we're going to wrap this live stream up in about a minute and a half. Mallory, I want to hand you the mic for 30 seconds. You've got people who are watching this who are skeptics. They're thinking this is snake oil. You got 30 seconds to tell them something. What do you tell them?
It is not a scam. I feel amazing. I'm so happy that I gave this a shot. I was getting to the point now that I'm almost, 4 years from being 40, that my monthly cycles are not regular. That I would go a year or a couple years regular, and then I would have like 50, 60-day cycles. And I really wanted to change my health, and so I didn't have to become on medicine. I'm very big on not having to be on medication, and I really want to be healthy and make a big impact on my daughter's life.
I love it, Mallory. Rex, the same thing to you, brother. 30 seconds, man.
Yeah, 30 seconds. Don't wait to take control of your health back. Don't wait. Get on the protocol. You'll get a lot of your life back, but you're also going to feel so much better. So don't wait. Just don't wait. That's my biggest thing. Just do it.
I love this. Dr. Tiff, Rex, your story is powerful. Thank you for sharing it with us. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, guys, I hate to do this. I'm going to cut us off. Dr. Tiff and I have a meeting that starts right now. Guys, we're going to be back next Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Come back. If you want to order the products, get with the person who brought you to this live stream. They'll tell you how to do it. Let's get healthy together, folks.